Let me ask you something. What if the secret to a stronger, fuller response in the male body isn't genetics, but chemistry? I'm Dr. Laya Romano, and today we're talking about why some urologists are quietly discussing bicarbonate and its surprising connection to circulation, muscle relaxation, and male performance. When most people hear the word bicarbonate, they immediately think of something simple and ordinary. It is often associated with household uses or basic chemistry lessons, not with men's health or urological science. But in recent years, some researchers and medical professionals have begun looking more closely at how the body's internal pH balance may influence circulation, muscle response, and overall physiological function. Thoughtful within the field of health science, even small chemical changes in the body can affect how tissues behave, especially when blood flow and oxygen delivery are involved. The human body constantly works to maintain a balanced internal environment. One of the most important aspects of this balance is pH, which measures how acidic or alkaline the body's fluids are. When pH levels shift too far in one direction, the body activates several systems to bring things back to equilibrium. Bicarbonate plays a role in this buffering process. It helps regulate acidity in the bloodstream and supports the body's ability to maintain stable chemical conditions. Urologists and physiologists understand that this balance is important for many organs, including those that rely heavily on blood circulation and smooth muscle function. In male physiology, circulation plays a critical role in how tissues respond during moments of arousal and intimacy. Blood vessels expand and allow increased blood flow into specialized tissues. This process depends on the ability of the vascular system to relax and dilate efficiently. If circulation is limited or if vascular tissues are not responding properly, the body may not achieve its full potential in terms of firmness and expansion. Because of this, medical researchers often examine any factor that might influence blood vessel behavior. Some scientists have become interested in whether bicarbonate levels could indirectly support this process. The theory is related to how the body manages acidity during physical activity and metabolic stress. When muscles work, or when the body experiences increased metabolic demand, acids can accumulate in tissues. Bicarbonate acts as a natural buffer, helping neutralize excess acidity and supporting more stable muscle function. In sports physiology, bicarbonate has even been studied for its potential to delay muscle fatigue by helping maintain a more balanced chemical environment inside muscle cells. When this concept is examined in the context of urology, the conversation becomes even more interesting. Certain tissues in the male reproductive system contain smooth muscle fibers that must relax in order for blood vessels to expand properly. Relaxation of these muscles is a key step that allows blood to fill the tissue effectively. Researchers exploring vascular health often study how chemical signals, mineral balance, and pH buffering systems influence this relaxation response. Urologists who focus on circulation and tissue response understand that many factors contribute to these processes. Hormones, nitric oxide signaling, cardiovascular health, and metabolic balance all interact together. Bicarbonate itself is not a hormone or a direct vascular drug, but because it participates in the body's buffering systems, some researchers believe it may indirectly support conditions that allow smoother muscle function and healthier blood flow dynamics. This interest does not mean bicarbonate alone changes anatomy or permanently alters physical structure. Rather, the scientific curiosity centers around how internal chemistry might influence the body's temporary physiological responses. In medicine, many discoveries begin with simple questions about how common compounds interact with complex biological systems, and sometimes the most ordinary molecules become part of deeper discussions about circulation, metabolism, and human performance. When men think about physical performance and intimacy, many assume that stamina or confidence are the most important factors. While those elements certainly play a role in relationships, modern health science points to something far more fundamental: circulation. Blood flow is one of the most critical biological processes in the male body, especially when it comes to firmness, responsiveness, and the way tissues expand during arousal. Urologists often emphasize that the ability of blood vessels to deliver strong, consistent circulation can significantly influence how the body performs in intimate situations. Inside the male reproductive system, there are specialized tissues designed to respond to increased blood flow. These tissues contain a network of small blood vessels and sponge-like chambers that expand when circulation increases. When the body receives the right signals, arteries widen and allow a surge of blood into these chambers. As the chambers fill, the tissue becomes firmer and expands outward. This expansion is what creates the physical changes associated with arousal. Because of this mechanism, the quality of circulation can influence how strong and noticeable this response becomes. When blood flow is healthy and the vascular system is functioning efficiently, the body can fill these tissues more completely. Many men report that when their circulation is better, often after exercise, improved diet, or better cardiovascular health, they experience stronger firmness and a greater sense of fullness. This is one reason why medical professionals frequently connect sexual health with heart health and overall vascular wellness. Urologists studying male physiology often explain that perceived size can sometimes be influenced by how fully these tissues expand. The anatomical structure itself may not change permanently, but the degree of expansion during arousal can vary depending on blood flow, vascular elasticity, and the responsiveness of smooth muscle tissue surrounding the blood vessels. When circulation is restricted or sluggish, the tissues may not fill to their maximum capacity, which can make the response feel weaker or appear smaller. This is why many medical discussions about men's health focus on improving circulation rather than chasing unrealistic anatomical changes. Healthy blood vessels are flexible and capable of widening quickly when the body sends the proper signals. This widening process, called vasodilation, allows more blood to move through the arteries and into surrounding tissues. If the vascular system is under stress due to poor lifestyle habits, inflammation, or reduced physical activity, the arteries may not dilate as effectively. Researchers exploring male health often examine how different factors influence this vascular response. Nutrients, minerals, physical fitness, and metabolic balance can all affect how well blood vessels relax and expand. Even hydration levels and oxygen delivery can impact the strength of circulation throughout the body. Because the reproductive system relies heavily on this circulation process, small improvements in vascular health can sometimes produce noticeable differences in firmness and responsiveness. Another factor urologists consider is the role of smooth muscle cells that surround blood vessels within these tissues. These muscles must relax in order for blood to enter freely. If they remain tense or constricted, circulation becomes limited. Various biological signals help regulate this relaxation process, including chemical messengers produced by the body. When these signals function properly, the vascular system can respond quickly and efficiently. The relationship between circulation and perceived size is therefore closely tied to how effectively blood fills the expandable chambers within these tissues. The more efficiently blood flows and the more completely these chambers expand, the more noticeable the physical response becomes during moments of arousal. Inside the male body, many physiological processes depend on the behavior of smooth muscle tissue. Unlike the skeletal muscles that control voluntary movement, such as lifting or walking, smooth muscles operate automatically within organs and blood vessels. These muscles are responsible for regulating the expansion and contraction of arteries, controlling blood flow, and allowing certain tissues to relax when the body receives specific signals. In urological science, smooth muscle relaxation plays an especially important role in how circulation functions within the reproductive system. The tissues involved in male arousal contain a large network of blood vessels surrounded by smooth muscle fibers. Under normal resting conditions, these muscles maintain a certain level of tension that keeps blood flow regulated. When the body becomes aroused, chemical signals trigger the smooth muscles to relax. This relaxation allows blood vessels to widen, which increases circulation and allows blood to enter the surrounding tissue chambers. As these chambers begin filling with blood, the tissues expand and become firmer. For this process to work efficiently, the body must maintain the right chemical environment within the bloodstream and surrounding cells. Small changes in pH balance, electrolyte levels, and metabolic byproducts can influence how muscles behave. If the internal environment becomes too acidic, muscle cells may not function as efficiently. Excess acidity can interfere with the ability of muscle fibers to relax fully, which may affect blood vessel expansion and circulation. This is where bicarbonate becomes relevant from a scientific perspective. Bicarbonate is part of the body's natural buffering system. Its role is to help stabilize pH levels by neutralizing excess acids that accumulate during metabolism. Every day, the body produces acids as a normal result of energy production, digestion, and cellular activity. Without buffering systems like bicarbonate, these acids could disrupt important biological functions. In muscle physiology, maintaining balanced pH levels helps support normal muscle contraction and relaxation. Researchers studying athletic performance have long been interested in bicarbonate because of its role in buffering acid buildup during intense exercise. When muscles work hard, they produce lactic acid and other metabolic acids that can cause fatigue or reduced performance. Bicarbonate helps counteract this buildup, allowing muscle cells to continue functioning more efficiently. Some scientists examining vascular health have considered whether similar buffering effects might influence smooth muscle tissue inside blood vessels. If smooth muscles are operating within a balanced chemical environment, they may respond more effectively to signals that tell them to relax. Relaxation of these muscles allows arteries to widen, improving the ability of blood to circulate through specific tissues. In the context of urology, improved smooth muscle relaxation may support stronger vascular responses. When blood vessels widen more easily, circulation can increase in the tissues that rely on rapid blood flow changes. These tissues depend on a delicate balance between muscle tension and relaxation. If the muscles surrounding the vessels relax more efficiently, blood may enter the tissue chambers more easily, allowing them to expand more fully during moments of arousal. Researchers who explore the relationship between muscle chemistry and circulation often look at how buffering compounds, electrolytes, and metabolic balance interact with the body's natural signaling systems. The goal is to better understand how internal chemistry supports vascular flexibility and smooth muscle responsiveness within different organs and tissues. In discussions about men's health, many people become interested in simple substances or everyday compounds that are rumored to influence physical performance. One of the reasons bicarbonate has entered conversations among health enthusiasts is because of its role in regulating acidity within the body. However, when scientists or medical professionals examine a compound like bicarbonate, the focus is not simply on the substance itself, but also on how it is used, how the body processes it, and whether it fits safely within the body's natural chemical balance. Urologists and health researchers who explore compounds affecting circulation or muscle behavior emphasize that method and context always matter. The body maintains a very precise internal environment. Blood chemistry, mineral levels, and pH balance are tightly controlled by organs such as the kidneys, lungs, and liver. These systems constantly adjust to keep conditions stable. When an external compound is introduced, the body must absorb it, process it, and determine how it fits into those existing regulatory systems. Bicarbonate is naturally present in the bloodstream as part of the body's buffering system. Its main role is to help stabilize pH by neutralizing acids produced during normal metabolism. Because this buffering function already exists within the body, researchers who study bicarbonate typically focus on how additional amounts might influence short-term physiological responses. In some areas of health science, such as sports physiology, bicarbonate has been examined for its ability to temporarily support muscle performance by helping maintain a balanced chemical environment during intense activity. When discussions arise about how experts use or study bicarbonate, they usually revolve around controlled conditions and careful measurement. Scientists do not simply introduce compounds randomly. They consider factors such as dosage, timing, body weight, metabolic rate, and overall health status. Even small differences in these factors can influence how a substance behaves in the body. For example, the digestive system must first absorb bicarbonate before it enters the bloodstream, and the kidneys later regulate how much of it remains in circulation. Researchers often examine timing because the body's chemical environment changes throughout the day. Physical activity, food intake, hydration levels, and metabolic activity can all influence acidity and buffering systems. Because bicarbonate interacts with these systems, scientists who study it typically observe how the body responds under specific conditions rather than assuming the same effect will occur for everyone. Another important element in scientific discussions is safety. Compounds that influence pH balance must be approached carefully because the body's acid-based system is delicate. Too much alkalinity or acidity can interfere with normal biological functions. For this reason, medical professionals usually emphasize that any compound affecting internal chemistry should be evaluated through research and clinical observation rather than casual experimentation. When urologists discuss compounds that might influence circulation or muscle relaxation, they also consider the broader context of overall health. Vascular health, hormone levels, physical activity, and cardiovascular fitness all contribute to how the body performs. A single substance rarely works in isolation because biological systems are interconnected. The body responds through networks of signals, enzymes, and chemical reactions that operate together to maintain balance and function. When men begin exploring information about health, performance, or physical changes in the body, it is common for misunderstandings to appear along the way. The internet is filled with simplified claims, exaggerated promises, and advice that removes important scientific context. Because of this, many men develop expectations that do not match how the body actually works. In the field of urology and men's health, experts often spend as much time correcting misconceptions as they do explaining new discoveries. One of the most common mistakes men make is believing that a single substance can instantly transform the body. Human physiology is far more complex than that. The systems responsible for circulation, hormonal balance, tissue responsiveness, and metabolic regulation are all interconnected. When one factor changes, many others adjust at the same time. Because of this complexity, no single compound can override the entire system or create dramatic permanent changes on its own. Another misunderstanding comes from confusing temporary physiological responses with permanent anatomical changes. The body frequently experiences temporary shifts in firmness, expansion, and responsiveness depending on factors such as blood flow, stress levels, fatigue, hydration, and overall health. These changes can make tissues appear larger or smaller at different times. Some people misinterpret these natural fluctuations as structural changes when they are actually short-term variations in circulation and muscle response. Urologists often explain that perceived size differences are closely connected to how effectively blood flows into certain tissues. When circulation is strong and the vascular system is functioning properly, these tissues can expand more fully. When blood flow is reduced due to stress, poor sleep, unhealthy lifestyle habits, or cardiovascular strain, the same tissues may not expand as much. The structure itself remains the same, but the level of expansion changes depending on how the body responds in that moment. A further mistake occurs when men overlook the role of overall health in physical performance. Circulation depends heavily on cardiovascular wellness. The heart, blood vessels, and metabolic systems must all work together efficiently to deliver oxygen and nutrients throughout the body. Habits such as regular exercise, balanced nutrition, proper sleep, and stress management have a significant influence on vascular health. Without these foundational elements, focusing on isolated substances or quick solutions rarely produces meaningful results. There is also the issue of misunderstanding scientific discussions. When researchers explore compounds that influence circulation, muscle relaxation, or metabolic balance, they are typically examining subtle physiological mechanisms rather than promising dramatic transformations. Scientific studies often investigate how small chemical interactions affect biological systems over time. These findings help doctors better understand the body, but they are sometimes misinterpreted when simplified into sensational claims. Experts in men's health emphasize that education and realistic expectations are essential. Understanding how the body actually functions allows men to make more informed decisions about their health. When individuals recognize the importance of circulation, metabolic balance, and overall wellness, they begin to see that long-term health habits often play a much larger role in physical performance than any single compound or trend.